Welcome back, Rage Nation. Got myself Pete here.
That's not really exciting.
We got Senior Dixon.
I don't think that's appropriate.
And we got Monsieur Leopard.
Explorers deserved it. No.
Absolutely.
I was disgusted. I cannot believe they've done this.
Bayou's wacky. Bayou's not good. It's just nonsense.
I disagree on that. That's not possible.
We're getting the band back together. We're on a mission. Yeah.
Now we've got a whole new list of things to complain about.
Welcome back, Rage Nation. We are at it again. Got myself Pete here. And with us, we got a full cast and crew on the casting couch. We're going to be talking about Bayou and GG4 today. We're going in alphabetical order. So Bayou's getting a back-to-back episode, giving them love like they deserve, those crazy little green gremlins. So, of course, we got Dixon with us, as always. And we brought on some Bayou boys. One, I'm not surprised to have on. We definitely have John Mozart from the Texas Meta. John, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm glad to be here, as always.
And then somebody I am surprised to have on is I didn't know that Doug from the Danger Planet was a Bayou boy. I always knew you playing Rezzers and whatever hot meta keyword was going, Doug.
Yeah, it's primarily Sam Barrows' fault because I learned Malifaux from Sam. Like, Sam was the person that introduced it to me, and Sam has staunchly stayed as a Bayou player. So my other competitive faction is Bayou because I can just kind of talk to Sam about it, right? And it's really easy.
Yeah, and Sam just plays all the Bayou games, so usually you can find out some good combos and ways to play them.
He's primarily a Bayou player, and he dabbles in Explorer Society.
I've never seen him play anything else.
He dabbles in Explorer. He played Explorer for a good chunk of like GG2 into GG3, but since GG4, he's been all Bayou mostly.
Cool. But before we get into the episode, make sure that you guys are checking us out. You can do that on our Discord channel. One thing that's cool on the Discord is not only are people just talking from all different time zones of the world, but we've been probably about every other week, we've been doing fireside chats and a voice chat. Like on Friday, before I went to my tournament to flex some Shenlong shirtless monk action, we did a paint session where we just had probably about 10 people in the fireside chat. Some people were sharing cameras. Some people were just, talking and had a decent time, talked about life, solving the world's problems and all that other Malifaux
I don't want to
stuff
say
we talk about.
On, live, I guess. Congratulations, because you went 3-0. I don't know if you won it, but I know that you went 3-0.
I did win. There was one other undefeated, but I had the biggest differential, and Shenlong's a heck of a drug.
I saw the results. It was
I don't know.
7-0, 7-5, 8-0. I think it was one of them. I was like, Jesus, what did you do?
Yeah. It was pretty good.
Stat 8's a hell of a drug.
It is. You can also check us out on YouTube. We have videos going up there all the time, at least a handful of times throughout the month. And then finally, if you want to support us directly, you can do that two ways. One, by going to patreon.com/RageQuitWire, where you can become a patron. You get to join the live recordings if you want. We always have a handful of people come in. You get the content early. And I actually just release occasionally patron-only content. Like I did a post kind of like just pouring my thoughts out about Shenlong after the tournament on Saturday. Just me kind of in the car. And I put that on audio and just handed it to the patrons. And I'm like, here you guys go. Here's some cool thoughts. And then, you can also support us through our weird affiliate link. Usually we don't get anybody doing that until the sales, which is pretty normal for Malifaux. Mm-hmm. But if you do, just check that out in the show notes as well.
Yeah, if you're going to buy, might as well, be nice to us.
Yeah, that's right.
100%.
But here's the thing. We're doing our GG4 Bayou faction kind of guide. The way this works for people, if you are new to this format, we did it for GG3 as well. We do this strat by strat. We go through all four of them. Each of us picks one master that we prefer or like or we think is strongest into that strategy. And then each of us will also pick one master we do not like into that strategy. So it can be for various reasons. Doesn't have to make sense. We all have our biases, and that's okay. So it's going to be fun to see where everybody lands on the picks and where we can kind of either agree or disagree on things. So let's go ahead and get into this. I think we're just going to go ahead and start with this. Honestly, it's an oldie but a goodie. I just think we're going to start off with plant explosives. If you guys aren't familiar with that strategy because you're new, you basically get these bomb tokens on up to 5 of your models, and you have to interact to place a bomb token on the opponent's half of the board. And to score, it has to stay there. And then if you want to score next turn, you have to have another one and another one and another one. You can pick them up. You can pick up your opponents. It's good fun. I like the strategy a lot. So we are going to start with our guests, and then Dixon and I will kind of go into this. Doug, I'm going to start with you because you're the newest to the show. Who is somebody that you love as far as a master and keyword into plant explosives?
Totally fair. I'll temper all of these expectations with the fact that Sam and I kind of as a duo synced up last night and put this list together. So
exchange notes.
I took all the exchange notes, and then I took all the minutes, and so I am the conduit that is Doug Brecker and Sam Barrows. Basically.
So if we were doing Dragon Ball Z and you guys combined together like that crazy,
it's like the fat little kid. Remember the fat Trunks when Trunks and Goten fuse and they get fat they do it wrong and they get like the fat kid.
So what do you call you and Sam combining together?
Oh God, I don't even know. But
Sug.
I don't know.
Yep, it's Sug.
Yeah,
we don't have
Sug.
Or that's got a heavy weight to it. It's got a heavy weight to it. I like that. Yeah, that's what it is.
All right. What did you guys come up with for plant?
Yeah. Okay. So I was gonna say Ma 1, and then he convinced me into saying Zip 1. Basically, the general premise that we kind of came to as a conclusion is that plant explosives rewards either pass tokens and out of activation interacts, and simply just the ability to go wherever you want on the board. And that's part of why that's Ma and or Zip. I guess for this selection, I'll say Zip, simply because like there's nowhere really on the board that Zip can't be or his crew can't get to. So you can choose kind of the runaway tactic and get the explosive plants out really quickly with that at least. And then a footnote he said is that like he really, really likes Uncle Bog into plant explosives. And I actually agree with him. I'm right there with him in that like if it's not banned, I probably take Uncle Bog 100% of the time in plant explosives because he's really durable. He has chatty. He can control a large area of the board without a lot of points investment, and he can like bring a friend, right? If like you can get the Gator to also summon and control that.
Yeah, and it's kind of a funny story. Zip is the one that kind of introduced me to not just punching and like just like, hey, I'm going to go do what I want, because I was a newer player playing against Zip. And I'm like sitting there ready to fight my buddy. I'm like, all right, we're meeting right here. And then Zip and the crew just flew over my head and I didn't see him the rest of the game. I'm like, wait, I thought we were going to fight. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's a flyover. You're like, wait, what the hell? And they're like some drunken jetpack gremlin just goes zoo right over your head. Yeah. Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah, he's definitely good at that. Is there any models in Zip's crew that you think are really good into the strat?
So, I mean, I really like First Mate in general. Just I think it's a very flexible model. And because he has a leap on him, he's got the ability to be hyper movement oriented and do the classical action, right? Like, I mean, leap, walk.
This is Rage Quit Wire. Right? We call that silhouette the silhouette, the myth, the legend for a reason.
Yeah, and Jesse's not here to poo-poo him either.
I love his lore. His lore is one of my favorite freaking things about Malifaux. It's right. It's like his lore is like he's a Silurid that ate the first mate, so he became the first mate. Yeah, it's like he walks over and the Silurid's like bah, 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 desecrating the body of his old captain, and Zip's like, you know what, you're hired, and just like puts.
I like your style, kid. I like your gusto.
Yeah, that guy's great. One of my favorite models in Malifaux.
All right, what about you, John? Who's your pick for the old plant explosives?
Well, so I play a lot of Brewmaster, and I think I like Brewmaster a lot on plant explosives, if I'm being perfectly honest. The main reasons are fingers. I bring fingers a lot, and Chatty is a good aura. He's tanky enough. He's mobile enough. He can kind of anti-scheme while being in the center. But then with the inclusion of Barrelby, which has become one of my favorite models in Bayou,
he's awesome.
Yeah, dude, I no, like hit the bonus action asleep at the wheel. It has like come in clutch for me so many games in a row. That it's just goes without saying. Like,
well, for people that don't know, what does Asleep at the Wheel do for you?
So Asleep at the Wheel is his bonus action, and all jockeys have kind of the similar thing where it's TN-less, but they do take 1 point of damage to pop it off.
To do the thing, yeah.
Yeah, Barrelby's specifically is he pushes up to his move, and then it can ignore models, terrain, and markers, and he pushes that amount, drops a scrap marker in base contact with himself. And so initially, like the idea was that you can use this in tandem with something like Cooper Jones to summon another Gammon, but really just as a standalone action, it allows him to push 3 to 5 inches depending on if he's hiding in the barrel that activation, and get you out of an engagement or go through an enemy model when like you really need to get to the other side of them, and then continue the move and interact. And I don't know, like, and even he can even do crazy things like if you've got a high card in hand, he can like get out of engagement, charge something else he needs to hit, cheat in the high card, get the accidental rollover, and stagger the enemy model, and then push through them another 5 inches and drop another bomb. Like and for 6 stones, having 7 is it 7 health, armor 1, shield, and he has access to hide in the barrel. Like defense 4 kind of sucks, and he gets hit, but that amount of tankiness is good. And also Whiskey Gammon. So like in plant explosives, it would be something like, for me at least, I would look to probably hire Barrelby Fingers and then like 2 Gammon for sure. And then like
Are you looking at mostly the Moonshiner title, or are you playing the original?
I have not put the OG like the OG version of Brewmaster on the table in some time, and even with I want to try it again now that Akaname are sort of able to do what the titled version of Brewmaster does, as opposed to where they can kind of support the crew in ways that Brewmaster 1 just can't. But I do feel like if I don't know, I want to give Brewmaster 1 more time in the sun at some point, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I prefer the mobility that Brewmaster 2 offers, as well as for those models that need to get their poison up higher, which includes the Whiskey Gammon.
Yeah, and Tipsy Slide is so nutty. It's just so good.
Yeah, and like just being able to set up your turn at the start phase to just, okay, cool, these 3 models are getting to over here, over there, and over there, and now you have to respond to that opponent.
Well, and Drunken Clarity, just to put ski markers down, is super good.
Right. Ensnare is like Brewmaster's bread and butter if that's in the pool. It's just like, okay, cool.
It's not resisted, right? You just go, I'm going to reduce that poison, boop, there you go.
Yeah, and he can do it 3 times. He could just boom, 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 boom. Yeah. And then there's 3 scheme markers. You can score information overload. So I'm a huge Brewmaster fan. So that kind of explains why I'm going with him first, just to kind of get that out there. I do think with Gammon, Barrelby, and even like Popcorn Turner, I like Popcorn Turner a lot on the move, getting him out of engagements, move 6, drop a bomb. Like, he just has options in that department, and he has the mobility to kind of get the stuff out as fast as possible, while Fingers kind of draws you cards, holds down with Chatty, and tries to anti-scheme with what's that action called? The bonus sabotage their plans.
Yeah.
So that's my take. Yeah, I like Brewmaster.
Dixon, who do you like?
Man, well, I mean, my number 1 pick is already set, which is I like Zip. I like both versions of Zip. I pick it based on the matchup. I already talked before in podcasts that I absolutely love Dread Pirate Zip, but I do understand that the original is just better for like most reasons.
Good,
I love him, and he's not bad. It's just that I know that there are matchups where the first
and he can interact to actually drop bombs.
Actually, like, he shockingly the ability wherever he attacks and does damage, and then somebody can do an interact action if you discard a card. That actually comes in handy in this type of mission. So like that thing, it's weird. It happens rarely, but my God, when it happens, it's awesome. But that being said, just to mention somebody different, I'll go with Sarita, because Sarita also has access to First Mate, has a lot of mobility, does not care about terrain, has the Kurgan on hand, so you can actually just like catapult people to different parts of the table to like either steal or to plant an explosive. And most of their models are also resilient. So yeah, that's the other.
And you have
That's
Silver's
also
native
true.
too.
Yeah, that's
as
also
minions.
So, question for a person who hates Zoraida: can Zoraida make? I think the answer is no, but can Zoraida make you drop a bomb marker?
Like
Yes.
an
by
enemy
obeying?
model? No.
Yeah,
No, it says specifically in the strategy it has to be a friendly controlled.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
but
I'm mistaken.
I know
Yeah,
in
because of what it
ballots,
calls
which
out
we'll
in the
get
strat.
to
Yeah,
later,
ballots is
you
different.
can
You can
obey
make
somebody to vote in the
Oh,
ballot.
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, you can make people. You can make Zoraida democracy, but you can't make Zoraida.
Dixon, I know you have love for the first version, but do you like the first one or the second one into plant?
Either version actually works. Really,
Yeah,
it's
that's
more
fine.
to preference. The main reason to the listener so that they know why. The first version has obey, so you can obey your own models to start dropping things. But the second version has the all important Moth Witch ability, which is if she does an action, two other models can do that action by discarding a card.
Yep.
And they don't have line of sight. I don't need line of sight. It's just straight up anywhere on the board. I do the thing. And we've talked about the combo with the Ten Thunders puppet that she can summon. So she summons the Ten Thunders puppet, and then she can do her whole activation. And then towards the end of the turn, you can just go, okay, now I'm gonna use my Moth Witch ability once by saying, "Remember the mission," and then he tells Zoraida, hey, you, can you interact? And then two other people are like, oh, by the way, interact.
I'm also dropping a bomb.
Yeah, it's really gross. It catches people off guard all the time. And even when you see it coming, it's like I don't know what to do because I can't engage her and stop her anyway. Like that's not an option.
Okay, well, for the sake of
I literally lost a game to that.
I
Dixon.
believe you.
Quicket was, yeah. I was playing Quicket, and he was on Bayou, and he schwongled my wongle with that exact play.
It is like one of those things. Even when you see it coming, dude, it's like so hard to see. We talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, I saw it coming and still lost.
We literally talk about it on the podcast all the time, and we're like people. Because I remember I was watching one of your guys' videos, and I remember I think it was Landon. And it's like, yeah, people are saying that the remember the mission, but that's just a meme. Nobody actually does it. I'm like, you haven't played against a good Bayou player.
Yeah, no, that shit's real.
Is super real.
That shit's real. Welcome to the Bayou. Everything
Yes.
is memes.
Yes.
Get wrecked, nerd.
That is true.
Memes
we
are
all about the
our
joke.
win con.
That's right. Well, that's like Beard. He posted a meme where it was like normal factions scoring strats and schemes, and it was like a straight line. Then it was like Bayou scoring strats and schemes, and it was like squiggles and cartwheels, and that's how the Bayou does it.
Yes.
Yeah. Why can't you be normal? Schemes and Bayou.
My pick, I'm going with old reliable here, and I'm going to say the Maw Tucket is who I would take into this one. I would take Maw 1 all day, and it's all for the horrible hollering and the pass tokens and all the normal Maw stuff. And I just remember I played a crap ton of Maw, and especially in like this, when it had it in the previous GG, but also in like Symbols Authority back in the day, where you can turn one have things like Rooster Riders. You can have your Bushwhackers. You can have whatever scheme runners you want to bring, and you can pretty much put them in your opponent's deployment zone turn one. And if their crew is not fast enough, they just can't handle it. So I love Rooster Riders into plant explosives because they just go drop a bomb in a corner and then just go cause chaos. And then they die because that's what Rooster Riders do. But hopefully they cause enough chaos to win you the day. And her keyword's just solid. It's just you bring Soulstone Miners, you're bringing other things that just cause problems for your opponent and make them hate life. That's Maw's entire objective playing plant explosives.
This is really the reason why they didn't want Maw, because like you could basically say that for every mission there, Pete. She's not the best one, but she can do that.
Well, so the Maw is probably the generalist keyword. Like I think she can do everything. I think last GG she was the best at everything.
Oh yeah.
But I think this GG you could do everything, but she's not going to be my answer for everyone because I actually wouldn't play her into every strategy.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Pete, I have a question for you based on this. So in plant as Maw, would you hire or not hire Big Brain Bryn because he's not that mobile? But do you think the support is still worth it? and everything he brings to the table?
It depends. So I'd probably say 9 out of 10 times I'm still bringing him. The only time I don't is maybe in corner. But even then, I've still brought Bog, and Bog was able to push him up the board pretty much, and Little Lass would carry him up the board. But I can see an argument.
Jebediah is now there, so that also helps a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a huge help for him.
Well, cool. Who is somebody, as far as a master and keyword, that you guys would not bring for Bayou into plant explosives? Doug, what's your answer?
So for me and Sam, it's Kin. The big reason why we're saying this is because the way that Kin wants to win the game is by getting in a shootout and winning the shootout, right? They're not particularly hypermobile. They're not going to be advancing their board state oftentimes beyond the center line. Like, they don't even necessarily want to do that. So in a strategy where you need to go out, be proactive about your AP usage, and put these objectives in a way that's going to be hard for your opponent to reach, that's just kind of fundamentally at odds with a lot of what Kin's core game plan wants to be, at least in our opinion. And then I guess like the screw you cherry on top is that like they knocked us down, man. We used to be so much scarier, you know? And so like we're not even the best at doing that gunfight anymore.
I think the better question into plant explosives is, did anybody not pick Kin? Because I picked Kin as well.
Yeah. So we looked around the classroom.
I think I was kind of in the same camp, although I was debating between Kin and probably like pigs in a way. But I think that's
pigs are fast, man.
Pigs are fast, but they're not durable, and they might inadvertently give their bombs away before they can plant them. And that's
also,
the thing.
That's fair.
0-inch melee. It's
0-inch melee is
It's literally that. Like that was like one of the main, because I tried pigs because
they can't guard their own.
Because I love the Baconator, but that was like the biggest issue in plant explosives. They could get there and probably drop it, but then somebody with a 1-inch melee can like steal it back and then stop you from like doing anything. It was so dumb.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. But that being said, I think Kin. I have some ideas about like how to make Kin great again, but they revolve around that model I talked about earlier, Barrelby, and running him with 2 raiders and taking advantage of looted supplies, which is kind of like what Clipper does for base, but base is also still kind of in a bad spot too, so I don't know if it's good enough. But it, 16 stones gets you a scheme runner, gets you 2 models that are going to draw you cards. You take Sammy, you can draw some cards, but that still is not like, I completely agree with like what Doug is saying, where like they don't want to like aggress across the board as fast as possible. Almost every other keyword in Bayou is better at going across the board than Kin is.
And you have some of the best in the game at
exactly.
it.
You could make up the diff by hiring like, say, the Lucky Emissary, or you could hire the first mate out of keyword, but like that doesn't feel quite as good. And those types of
because then it's like, why don't you just play another master?
Right, exactly. That's exactly it. And
also the big issue whenever you do that is if you're playing like a gun line, or not necessarily, but you know what I mean. Like Kin doesn't really like push forward, like you were saying. It kind of doesn't create that distraction that you need for the first mate to do his job. At least in my experience, like the first mate, yeah, he can dodge, but then like a concentrated effort between like 2 to 3 models will get him.
He can't be the only thing. Yeah, he can't be the only thing on Ops side of board, because then Ops like, all right, cool, fuck that model.
Do you agree then, Dixon? Do you also think it's Kin?
I think it's very obvious. I think Kin needs a summer touch. The same thing as Big Head.
I don't like the title after it got nerfed, just because I feel like it's just not as good, but I still like the original. So I don't know. Yeah. I think there's models in the keyword that need to be refigured out on what they actually want to be doing.
I mean, I've said it before and I say it again. They did the better nerf Irelia meme from like League of Legends, but they did it for Kin. I think Mr. Moser here knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, right?
I only played League for like 10 years. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah, dude, it feels just like that. It feels like better nerf Kin. Oh, it's like, we've been having problems with Damien, and like, Monk is getting a little bit out of hand. Better nerf Kin.
Like, I think that was the craziest thing surrounding all of that, is that like I think people were really upset that Kin was able to put out so many stat 7 focus shots in the UK, and that's what was bothering them about it, while Damien and Perdita specifically were getting overlooked. So, like, I think Kin got nerfed twice before Perdita from Malifaux Burns got touched.
Yeah, and I also just think that the Rami nerf was just so egregious and unnecessary.
Yeah, and Francois got...
Well, Francois deserved it. I'm not even going to lie about that.
But not that much, dude. They Yasunori the shit out of Francois.
Oh, yeah, he did.
They should have at least made him 8 stones.
I like that that's a verb. That's pretty hilarious.
Until they fix Yasunori, we will keep browbeating weird with it.
Yeah. and then when they fix Yasunori, I'm gonna say it's like they killjoyed that model.
He has one line right up after Dixon. It's like, well, then they X Y.
We have backups upon backups.
Oh, yeah. It's so dumb. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into the next one. We'll go ahead and do the other one that we've kind of seen before, and then we'll get into the 2 newer ones. So Raid the Vaults is probably the closest to GG3, except for now the back strategy markers count as controlling 2 points, which is a lot more interesting than the old guard the stash version. So basically you have to have more models standing on a point that's not in your deployment zone or deployment half of the board. And you score points that way. Just stand and get your points. So we'll start with John. We'll start with you this time, then we'll go to Doug. So
okay,
who do you like for stand in a spot there, John?
So stand in a spot, it's kind of tough because, like, I think Bayou specifically just has a lot of tools to get to specific points on the board, and how many tools they have to hold points on the board is up for debate. Yeah. But I do like that. I don't know. There's a few that I would consider for Raid the Vaults. I mean, I think Zip actually is pretty good for Raid the Vaults, except in maybe like if your opponent declares like Nephilim or if they're playing in Guild. Up We Go is just really good. Zip doesn't need to worry. Zip doesn't need to worry about things like interacting on that strategy specifically. Yep. And while he can still kind of deny some play with Boring Convo and Chatty. So I think I like the idea of Zip. Even if his keyword's not the most durable, they can usually get to points very quickly, and pianos can sometimes deny your opponent's ability to do stuff. So yeah, I think I'd say Zip. I'm trying also not to just say, oh, Brewmaster, because I like Brewmaster. You know, I want to change it up at least a little bit, and I do think Zip is up there, and I think Ma Tucket to an extent also probably is good on Raid the Vaults, but she has kind of a similar issue with her keyword not necessarily being the most durable outside of, some select choices. But I think I just overall like that Zip can kind of get up the board, occupy a spot. He can zip around to different spots as needed. Both of his attack actions are really good on target around strategy markers. And pianos are just good for denying other models' abilities to get there, where he has so much flying and everything else that I wonder if I hire Mancha Roja on Raid the Vaults, depending on like if it's flank or if it's wedge or something, just to kind of get him up into the mix and like be like, hey, I'm a 10-stone beater. Are you going to do something about me, like standing in these 2 center points? If you do and don't kill me, I'm going to jack you up pretty bad.
So, speaking of huge models that are good at just like standing in spots, do you think this might be a strategy that would be good to play the big Bayou Gator for 10 soul stones?
I think Bash is
literally the best bottle.
Bash weird.
I've brought Bash in a few games actually, and generally has done pretty well. Although this last time I brought him, he died top of turn 2 unactivated because I played into Nekima 2, and it was a bad time. Bash. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, Doug. I mean, don't make me sing. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
I obviously am not correct. I'm not saying anything that's accurate. I'm saying it out of my love for Bash.
So
he's better in December. It's okay.
Better in December, but I do think Bash has some play with in certain matchups. Like I said, I brought Bash into Nekima 2 because I wanted to eat the corpse markers before their models could grow. But 14 Wounds Laugh Off is like, especially for certain crews, just is very difficult to deal with. Like Dreamer has a bad time with Bash because you just cannot mulch through 14 wounds with that much inbuilt healing. And like, Ruthless Laugh Off also laughs in the face of Dreamer.
The laugh off's big.
Yeah, I think I brought Bash in a Somer 2 list, so there were corpse markers everywhere for me to eat.
You weren't expecting that.
No, really, they weren't. And he scored me 2 points for In Your Face. He went basically across the board untouched and killed Lord Chompy Bits, no problem.
It is one of those things where if you forget Bash is a thing, and if they have a proxy or you're playing on Vassal and all of a sudden you see Bash in their list and you weren't prepared for that, that can be a problem for a lot of crews.
So what you're saying is Bash is the peacekeeper of Bayou.
I think that it's close, I think.
He'd be the peacekeeper of Bayou if we had Soulstone Cash, because that's what you can do with a peacekeeper in Arcanist too.
Yep. That's not. Well, that's a different story.
They have a little bit.
Like, if you see the Peacekeeper in Arcanist, you knew that you were going to see armor. The reason why I like to use them as an example is because in Guild, you might be playing something squishy like, say, the Ortegas, and all of a sudden it's like,
Nelly.
Or Nelly. Yeah, you're playing Nelly, also a Peacekeeper. And you're like,
wait a minute. With Bass all the time.
Yeah.
I was not prepared.
But yeah, I think I like
Zip. We got to vote for Zip there.
Mm-hmm. He can also eat your pianos if you hire Bash, which is kind of funny. Like, you blocked your own route. Oh, I'm going to eat this piano.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Doug, what do you got for your pick for Raid the Vaults?
So Sam and I both agreed on this one. This is both kind of how we've been playing Raid the Vaults and Bayou. And we're taking Angler for
spicy.
this one. Yeah, so let me explain why. Hopefully
I think
it'll
it's
make
a
some
good
sense. And then I'll explain why Bashy is the best model ever immediately after. And we'll just mash those 2 points together. Okay. Anyway, Angler is not amazing at AP expenditure. They have a lot of really high value AP attacks across the crew, right? So they're not amazing at running around and doing things that are very, very heavy AP oriented. So like I wouldn't take them, for example, on like ballots, right? But in Raid the Vaults, all you're asking your team to do is go up the board and stand in a place and be survivable and win a fight. And if I know as the player where I need to go, and for part of the mission to score, my opponent also needs to go to that place, I can be proactive about a movement path that will put me into a scoring position really early, allow me to set up a little nesty new of like tide markers and defensive stuff. And then I also have some of the tankiest, most annoying, we're going to stand here models that Bayou has, right? We've got really good.
So you're looking
models
at Malifaux bucket then specifically.
It's matchup dependent, but probably, yeah. I really like the capture line on Ballyhoo Bucket. As long as we don't talk about the fact that Oh No Ogopogo is stat 7, I don't think anyone will notice. So
apparently Weird hasn't noticed.
Right.
Yeah. Nobody spilled the beans, man. Like maybe we'll just be able to keep this stat.
That's all right. Let's buy you have something nice.
I still think that the only thing you should change about that model is the drop trigger. I think it's a trigger on his range attack that allows it to drop a water marker right underneath the target. That's literally the only thing that you have to change. Make it a create. Like,
yeah. I mean, listen. I'm not gonna talk bad.
No, I love the model, and I think we should keep it because he's no even like the most powerful master in the faction, and that's the reason why I don't want him to be changed. But like literally, the only thing, if they ever had to nerf it for some ungodly reason, it's like just change that into create, and that's it.
Yeah, you got that. Yeah. You got the Hermits. You got Cervantes. Uncle Bog. You just got some solid, just stand in a spot stuff.
Yeah, it's like they're really good at what they want to be doing is going to a location, kind of hanging out there and using their AP to attack things, right? Because they've got a lot of really high value attacks in that crew, but what they don't have is a lot of really good ways to shit out scheme markers and interact in a dispersed manner. But Raid doesn't ask you to do that.
Yeah, I think Angler was like it was a debate for me as well. I think Angler's really good in Raid the Vaults.
I mean, it's my pick. I'm with you.
Dixon's on the Angler
train.
Oh
yeah, no, literally. The only thing that I was gonna add to it, the only thing that was gonna add to everything that Doug said is I also like to bring Sammy out of keyword. I think. I'm sorry.
Sammy's so good.
Sammy's great.
Yeah, but
I
like
love Sammy, dude.
the specific
Stop
reason
talking about
is
Sammy and she'll
the
get
Bury,
nerfed.
because
Yeah,
like
exactly.
we learned that from last GG. Bury is incredibly powerful in raids, so just bring it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Sammy's probably one of the best out of keyword hires in Bayou right now, depending.
Yeah, I think so. And not only that, but she just answers some problems that I think Bayou has issues with. So that's always nice. I think it's kind of funny. I was actually looking at Angler. That was one of my picks. But for the sake of being a little bit different, I'm actually going to go with Brewmaster. And specifically, this is the one I think I would probably take Brew 1, unless the deployment was probably needing a little more speed. Because Brewmaster just can sit in the middle of the board. And now you have the Akaname buff, so that helps build the poison up a little faster. You can bring the Fermented River Monks to stand on a point. You can bring the Whiskey Golem to stand on a point. You still get Barrel Bee. You can bring, just all the good stuff that Brewmaster now. I am so impressed with a lot of the stuff Brewmaster has gotten. I know a lot of Bayou people are mad about the Ashes stuff being kind of meh, but I think the pieces that Brewmaster has recently gotten has been very solid for him. And Brewmaster can just fight out and just kill a model or two a turn and just not even look twice.
I think
and you know that Nia too soon.
Yeah.
As a model addition. So you know that's coming for
and,
Chi really soon.
Half trolling but half truth. I think the person that is playtesting Bayou is way too good and is kicking the ever living crap out of everybody. Or there's like somebody in playtesting that is just like hating on Bayou, and they're just like that, that silver or serpent tongue or whatever that's like right next to the playtester lead, and he's like, nerf Bayou for no reason.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
The worm tongue of
there you go. You got the right one. Yeah.
And I'm going to ask a question. It's kind of similar. I'm just curious if everybody's thinking what I'm thinking. I think that the keyword you don't bring into Raid the Vaults is probably Whizbang. And I'm curious if we all agree or if somebody thinks there's a worse pick.
That's
because I know I know with Wong 1 you can bring Alphines to Swine Curse and you can, glow them up, and they have the glow up game.
Yeah.
But you're damaging yourself, and that can be a little risky on Raid. So I know, John, you're a big proponent of the Whizbang, but I wouldn't pick them.
I mean, okay. I have seen Whizbang, the title specifically, and the stupid pigs and Alphonse just be unkillable. And you have access to Sammy without attacks, so I would not say Whizbang.
Sam Barrows agrees with you.
I agree as well. I think Whizbang, Alphonse.
But I agree with you, Pete.
Okay.
Okay.
So
gotcha.
My arguments for Whizbang being okay would be Alphonse is tanky, has toss, and Sammy in keyword means that Glimpse the Void triggers built in, really powerful. Especially into something like Guild, for example, that is going to try to laugh off your ability to move away. Sammy can just get around that.
I mean, Sammy destroys Explore Society because they usually have like willpower 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm. I actually think my not pick for Raid the Vaults would, and depending on schemes, I may still try it, but I think I don't know if I like Big Hat specifically. Because I feel like they're missing a lot of the durability, and summons just aren't as valuable on Raid the Vaults as they can be on other strategies, because while summons can't really interact with the markers, they don't really count towards your count for the markers. But the bigger deal is that like Raid the Vaults isn't asking you to engage enemy models, whereas every other strategy, theoretically, if you just put a pile of Bayou Gremlins on something, it can't like drop a bomb, it can't stuff the ballots unless it has Don't Mind Me, right? And
that's fair.
And I think they're lacking in kind of the durability. Like don't get me wrong, Lenny is a 11 wound stone using hard to wound model, but once he goes down, it like hurts really bad, and they can just kind of focus him down if they want to.
I will say, if you haven't played with or against Big Hat with old Cranky kind of holding models,
it's true. And I think the thing I have is that like old Cranky is amazing. There's no arguing. I think Big Hat has a bit. Yeah,
Yes.
no, I think there's some overtuning done with Big Hat a bit in terms of what Cranky and like the amount of attacks you can get out of Lenny is. Are my two big things with them.
Yeah.
But if you run out of cards because like let's say you're like yeah, you have Bayou 2 card
Cranky's
and that can be
amazing.
really impactful, but like sometimes you have to cheat high to try to like deny
Borderline
enemy attacks and it
absurd,
doesn't work
frankly.
out. And maybe it's just because my card management's not that good. Right? Maybe I still have to work on that part of my skill set, so to speak. But I do feel like take the hit is good, but then if they throw some AoE damage your way, like I've lost Cranky a couple games because of just like, and maybe it's because I've been playing more Somer 2 than Somer 1 because I want to make that ski marker game work out. Yeah. But I do know that, like there are ways to kind of mitigate Cranky if you can do AoE damage or just like ping him to death, and then all of a sudden your take the hit's gone, and it's like, where do I go from here?
Okay, you may have swayed me. I'll see what the other guys say, but
I just as a added thing to Moser is I killed my own stuff. That's how I got a whole bunch of like card control. So maybe I don't know if you're doing that, but I was literally killing my own stuff just to get cards.
Yeah,
maybe that helps.
I think also, maybe yeah.
Sorry. I think one of the big things is like I actually have 0 reps on Summer 2. But I have like 35 on Summer 1 because he's my alt account for Ma 1. And I've had a decent amount of success in Raid the Vaults simply by primarily using a delay tactic off of Summer 1. Like I'm shooting 4 to 5 Bayou Gremlins onto people and then jamming them at the line. So like my open is always Lenny activate, toss Summer, toss some other thing that needs to be tossed. Summer activate, immediate summon, jam opponent at line, right? So I get a lot of my survivability by also doing one of the really cool new tricks that you can do, which is, you know how if you're within 8 of Lenny, you can bake in masks, basically. So what you do is you take the totems, and the totems become these little mini taxis, and you can move them around with you're coming with me baked in on a relent onto like whatever's important, and you can use that to taxi the old Cranky bubble into and out of nonsense. And if things are getting a little too spicy and you're running out of take the hit models and you think Cranky's going to start taking heat, you can use a later stage mosquito activation to do that, because it's still like a net radius fucking, I don't know, what's a 40 mil plus 8, right? I don't know how to do math, but it's sure a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah. But that's how I approach the Summer game. I don't have any experience on Summer 2, so I don't know anything about it. My take on Summer 2 is that I'd want to take him into like specific pools, right?
Yeah,
gotcha.
That's my take. I don't know.
He's very hard to compete with on something like In Your Face.
Yeah.
I mean, but I will admit that if I had to pick, I'd probably say Big Hat is my least wanted keyword for this. But I'm not happy about it. That doesn't mean that I think it's bad. I
think I actually changed my mind as we've been talking about this pool or this strategy.
That's fair.
But I'm going to wait to see what Doug picks, because it seems you're a little split.
So I said that I wouldn't want to have to pilot Zip into this, and Barrows agreed with the masses, basically. I just like, I'm not a very good Zip pilot. I only kind of have one way I like to play him. Or that I've had success with him, and it's usually by doing the flyover stuff, right? Like that you talked about, Pete. Like you play, and it's like there he goes, and you never see him again. And that's how my brain thinks about playing that master. And this is kind of so counter to how I'd be comfortable doing it that for me personally, that's why I wouldn't want to do it. And Barrow is agreed basically with your original point, Mr. Dixon.
Yeah, and as we've been talking, I've been thinking about GG3 games with Guard the Stash that I've had issues with. And as I kind of started pulling into my old Bayou games, I remember having a lot of trouble actually with Ulix, because, you can summon piglets, but then they don't count for the strategy.
Right.
So what your opponent does is they kill all the ones that matter and then just deal with the other pigs later. Right. So I thought that was actually a bigger problem than probably Whizbang.
Yeah.
So I probably switched my answer actually to Ulix.
Yeah.
I think that's proud. Yeah. Go ahead, Dixon. Sorry.
Yeah. No. I was just gonna basically agree with Pete. It's just that I think the bigger issue with Big Hat, which is why I agree with you, Moser, is just in Big Hat, there's significantly more models that are like just randomly insignificant, or they just explode. And it's like, well, I guess, I don't have the necessary significant models to actually get the point. And both versions of Big Hat rely heavily on summoning insignificant models. So again, it's just like, come on, this is not friendly.
Right.
Cool. Well, let's go into the strategy that is probably more friendly for summoners, and that's going to be Cloak and Dagger. So, for people that need a refresher, Cloak and Dagger, there's 4 strategy markers put on the center line, 6 inches apart at least, and you can interact with them to get intel tokens. You can also interact with your opponent's model to steal intel tokens, and you have to have 1 to score the first turn. Then the next turn you have to have more,
Yep.
et cetera,
Oh, yeah.
until you score up to 4. So Cloak and Dagger, this is, I don't know what you guys think. I think Cloak and Dagger is probably the most challenging strategy in GG4 just because of the AP efficiency and the interacting your opponent can do to kind of cancel it out.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, when you discard the intel tokens, the model you choose discards all of the intel tokens. So you can't bank it. Like, I can't bank 2 and then only take 1 off of a model. They all have to go.
Oh, yeah.
So, Doug, let's start with you this time. What is a Bayou Master that We Are Legion likes into the Bayou picks?
Sam and I are of the same mind here. For Cloak and Dagger, all day, it's Mawtucket 1 for us. Like, this is the most Mawtucket that's ever Mawtucketed, in our opinion, basically. And let me explain why. So, one of the biggest strengths of Mawtucket is that you can get 2 pass tokens, and effectively you can leverage board state control, right? And if I can reliably go into the turn, basically being like, all right, like, I'm gonna dig for a ram. Like, I don't even care if I have to spend a soul stone to do it, but I'm gonna dig for a ram on my hand draw, right? So that I can leverage board state control. It allows you to do some really, really naughty stuff with out of activation movement and even out of activation interacts via Sparks and or Bryn. And you have what you've referred to already, Pete. You have a lot of, like, you have horrible hollering all over the place, right? So it allows you to, in a really nasty way, leverage ultimate board state control, make your opponent activate out, and then basically go with a model that's going to push a model and a model that can activate a model to then interact. And then boom, you've stolen your opponent's tokens, right? Because my thought, and this is kind of how Sam is beating it into my brain by mercilessly massacring me on Cloak and Dagger a bunch, is the best way to Cloak and Dagger is with your opponent's Cloak and Daggers, right? Because it's so crippling when you can basically be like, nope, hey, thanks for that there, buddo, and then get away with it. And kind of because of that, that's why we're so steam-headed on taking Ma for Cloak and Dagger, and we really believe in her, basically.
There's not much to argue, I guess. I personally, okay, everything you said is true, except that I think there's somebody that does it better. I am not a good Bayou player, in my opinion, a good tournament Bayou player, but I do see a lot of potential in, like, anything. Even as a competitive player, I can see potential even if I don't know how to play it, right? And
yeah, what she does is just so good.
Yeah, and
it's
she
crazy.
does. She does. I'm not disagreeing with that. I think Summer has a better game plan.
Ooh.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, because, like, there's many tricks that I've seen Summer, especially like the Lenny slide. I like to say Lenny slide, but you can do it with anybody. You can do it with Summer. Summer getting, you toss the smuggler, and then Summer now has like extra inches on top of like whatever he had before, and you can move the smuggler before you activate Lenny. Then Lenny can walk up to her and then toss her. That all of that is giving extra inches, and then you can do a summoning at the end of the turn. All of that is like incredibly powerful, and then you add in that your models can count as ski markers. And then you can add in that haberdashers are significant for some ungodly reason.
Sucks.
Yeah.
For your opponent.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
like, a better player than I can just see that. I can just see somebody using Jebediah and the haberdashers to such a degree that I'm just like, if I don't have a way to get activation control before the end of the turn, I'm just gonna not score the strategy.
Yeah, but Jeb is in Ma too. I take Jeb every game. I love Jeb.
I don't disagree that he's, a choice for Ma, but Ma doesn't also summon haberdashers. Guess who does?
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Yeah, Summer also gets to summon haberdashers on top of also summoning other significant models. What was that?
So was Somer your pick, Dixon?
Yeah. Most, what was that?
Oh, I was going to basically also include, I don't know if you thought about this as well with Somer, but the Gremlin Criers can take summon Gremlins can steal intel tokens from enemy models. Because you can obey them.
That's a dope play.
You can obey them with the crier. They have the built-in mask for the obey and for the trigger. They ignore their insignificant ability and engagement for their interact action. And then after they steal the intel token, you can just kill them because they cannot. I don't think they can discard the intel token. So essentially, right. you can negate a lot of what your opponent is doing. To get as many intel tokens as they possibly can across their models by just like dropping a couple Bayous and having your crier go, cool, take their token, and one of you is going to die right now.
Holy crap! I did know that the crier had that special obey sauce, but I did not know like the way that it resolved. That's actually pretty cool. I like that.
Mm-hmm. So I think Somer is a solid pick here as well. Cloak and Dagger is one that like really racks my brain a lot. I'm not. Yeah. It's the strategy I struggle with the most. Brewmaster I like because of just being able to reach 2 across the board. He doesn't have a lot of like ability to interact a lot, so you kind of have to accept like maybe I'm not going to score 8 or 4 points on strat. But I also like, believe it or not, I actually like Wong on Cloak and Dagger as well, because he just has so much extra AP, that you're kind of putting out with Hard Knock Life. If you can maintain your health on your models, then you can kind of get them into the positions to interact, get the things, and then they're sometimes so hard to kill with, especially with the infused body model specifically. But also, I think even Hopscotch might have play there for just the fact of being slippery, being able to like kind of take away an enemy model's tokens, like Sticky Tongue take the tokens and then creep along out. I think Wong has some pretty significant play, and I like Wong enough that I would consider taking him on Cloak and Dagger. Maybe one of the reasons why I wouldn't is because the markers are concealing, and then Sammy loses a bit of value. But I think in general, just the amount of extra AP you can get with all the fast makes it for me. Or
yeah, I was debating probably Swamp Hag. I was sitting there thinking like she's pretty efficient, but Maw won with the pass because the name of the game is, can you get close to the last activation to then determine where you need to score and where you can deny the intel tokens? And to me, that ram trigger for the initiative flip for her helpful chores that she used to do is just really good because you can just go, cool, I'm going to use pass token, I'm going last, I'm going to dive in with this model and take 2 of your intel tokens, and now you don't score and I do.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think yeah, I didn't want to talk about, I wanted to spread the love, but I think Ma is, that specifically is just so good on Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah, she's just really good at that specific thing in this Cloak and Dagger pool. And I have noticed that in a lot of Cloak and Dagger games, even the player that's winning is usually not getting all 4 strategy points for Cloak and Dagger.
I was going to say that too. You don't have to score 4 on Cloak and Dagger. It's okay to come away with like 3 and sometimes 2 and even win the game if you're playing defensively in that matchup.
That's actually, I just want to point out to the listener, that is a very common belief that in Cloak and Dagger, you score 2 and try to deny your opponent from scoring 2. And if you can score 3, you're winning that game almost hands down.
Yeah, I think 2, you're kind of still going back and forth unless you're playing the super denial game. But if you get 3, you're probably winning the game. And I think if you get 4, you're probably just running over your opponent.
Yeah, you're just destroying that poor person. It's just that person had no chance in hell.
Wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dixon, you already got your pick in with Soma, right?
Yeah. It's because
Yeah. I just want to
honestly,
make
I
sure.
see the potential in it to be like,
Me too.
because like the thing is, I don't have the execution yet to say it like fervently, but there's so many abilities that go easily that they're just like, oh, I do this one thing, and X happens, and they don't care if they die. That's the big issue.
Yeah.
So the enemy, yeah, they can try to deny, but like they have so many avenues of just like, oh, I'm just gonna make stuff up. And I have Jebediah here, I have Summer over there, Lenny in the middle trying to like stop you from getting to the two juicy things, and then random models just being annoying.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree with that.
and we'll go ahead and see who we don't like into Cloak. Yeah, let's start with you, John. What don't you like into Cloak and Dagger?
Probably similar to before. I don't think I like Kin as much on Cloak and Dagger, but because we could all dump on Kin all night, I do think there might
Yes.
be something to be said about kind of to go on what Doug had said earlier about how Angler doesn't do lots of interacts. They have very impactful actions they want to take. Now granted, like they have some models that can sort of do it.
I 100% agree
But
with you.
I think if you're relying on Buckaroos or Skulker skins to like accomplish your strategy, they go down very easily with a concentrated effort, depending on what you're up against. So I feel like Angler specifically, they don't have they have some mobility with Uncle Bog, but that's about it. And Chatty from Uncle Bog is good, so Uncle Bog still very good, but just they don't have other stuff that really feels that impactful to interacting with the strategy markers and getting to those points fast enough to start denying your opponent points. And so I think Angler is the keyword I would actually avoid, aside from the obvious choice of Kin.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
maybe Ulix would also be something I would never take on Cloak and Dagger. I mean, he's got a lot of extra AP, but it's the reach 0 and the ability for your opponents to just very easily take those tokens off of you, depending on how you got them, might be a bit much. But I'm going to say Angler because I think
it's a struggle.
Yeah.
Honestly, they could probably lower the cost of all the minions in Ulix by 1, and it would not like be, you know what I mean? Like it wouldn't even break anything because of that. How big of a problem is range 0?
Mm-hmm. So I was actually talking with Rich about Sui in general, and Rich is actually of the opinion that there are too many support models in Sui.
Yep.
And he did a blog on it, and he's like, we need something else besides support. And what did Weird do with the Ashes book? They gave us 2 more support models.
Yes.
And I was just like, that's fair. You probably need at least 1 or 2 more payoff pigs to really make the keyword start doing something for real.
I mean, I the amount of times that I've heard people argue, it's like, oh, Old Major should not be costing less than what he is. Like, dude, it's a 6'4" with Heart of Wound. Like, he's not OP. Why? Why do you not want to make him?
4-6? I think he's defense 4.
That's what I'm sorry.
4,
I said
yeah, no, you're good.
First. Yeah.
We know what you meant.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is, I kind of, I mean, I don't, that's not my pick, but like, I can definitely see why. I will poop on Kin because I definitely want them to get better.
I am also dunking on Kin because I hate the way they currently play. I think some of the models really suck, and I'm not good at playing Kin even when they were good. So I would say I would never pick Kin, and that's the bottom line.
I mean, I'm not gonna go that harsh, but I'm definitely gonna be like,
hard to the paint.
Yeah, this is not their GG.
Pete said so.
And that's the bottom line. Because Dixon said so.
Yes.
Where's my beer cans?
Cracks Bud Light, drinks it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely savage.
What?
What about you, Doug? Who's are you dunking on Kin?
I literally agree with everything John just said. Like, Sam and I. So, like, yes, obviously, Kin is. I would like them to be better. I would like them to unnerf the 2 things they took from us. I would like them to give us a new model, so that I can play them and have fun. I want to blast people off the board with guns, but they're just not in a good position to do that. And even if they were, this wouldn't be a good spot for them to do it. But everything that John said is basically the point that Sam and I had. I went through when John was talking, and crossed out up the points that I was going to make as John was saying them, and he just hit literally every single one of them. So yeah, it's like copy John Moser's homework. That's Sam and Doug's homework.
There you
go. Yeah,
that's high praise, man.
All
Thank
right,
you.
and then that's gonna put us.
I'm with this man too. I agree.
Into the last strategy.
I see. By the way, I just want to point out to the listener in our chat, Liam is trying to say that they should nerf Old Major, and Pete is agreeing with him. And I'm just like, nah, make them cheaper.
No, and I think it's a good point what he pointed to, because we made the point that Flicker made it hard to buff certain models in Oni. And what he's saying in the chat is that the aura that gives a positive to damage and the RAM is so good that if you buff him otherwise, it would make him way too good. So maybe reworking that aura and then buffing him in other ways would be more productive.
Make all picks cheaper.
Make him sturdy, you know?
Like if they had a way to be more sturdy other than like Ulix 1's like sturdy critters, which like he doesn't draw cards, so it feels bad getting rid of your cards to then tank hits. I think it's crazy that pigs don't feel as good as they could, and they have some of the most ridiculous like buffs in the game, right? Like if you gave guard major aura, they'd be the best keyword hands down in the game. If guard had keyword majors plus rams and positive flips to damage, like that'd be insane.
But absolutely outrageous,
yeah, absolutely outrageous. But like it's like, how come pigs aren't feeling that good? I think a lot of that comes from they don't do cards well enough, and they do want cards a lot. That's my humble opinion. Although I do think they're
too many payoff. I agree with you. It's just too many payoff models. That's specifically what it is. Too many payoff models, and the support. If you look at the support, they don't draw cards either. So it's like, okay, so I have support to make me do the thing that I already do good better.
I think maybe there's like something you could do with like, and again, out of keyword Sammy hire, dude, to get some cards, but that's requiring like Swine Cursed and Bo Peep, and you have to like, oh, this piglet's going to charge the Swine Curse, deal a point of damage, draw me a card, give him fast and a glowy token. You know, Bo Peep's going to go through them, give me a card and a glowy token, you know. There are ways to maybe make that happen, but it's just the payoff. I don't know if it's worth it.
And that leads us into the last strategy with Stuff the Ballots. So to refresh everybody's memory, there are ballot boxes all over the board, and you can have up to 6 votes in each ballot box. And whoever has the most votes in that ballot box, if you control it, you score a point. It just has to be on either the center line or your enemy half of the board. And you just interact within an inch of it to do it. So we'll go ahead and start with Douglas. Who did you guys pick in the Stuff the Ballots for Bayou?
So let me preface this by saying that I know what Sam picked is correct. I just don't have any repetitions on this master ever.
Sure.
So I picked a different one, which is just my cop-out, which is Ma 1. But it's literally just because I don't have any reps on Wong 1. So like the argument for magical democracy, let me lay it out for you, is that inherently it's really easy to spam a significant model AP with Wong, especially Wong 1 because he's really good. You can put fast onto your models really easily, really efficiently, and you can get 3 AP out of so much of your crew. The other thing that Sam made an argument for, and I think is correct, is like he's really good at having an efficient shockwave that if he knows you're going to be in a spot, he can line himself up to defend, like, you know, maybe 1 or 2 of the significant ballot boxes that are also maybe tied to how he wants to scheme or whatever like that. And then on top of that, you have the stacking fast and glowy. And so basically we're saying magical democracy is for everyone, and we're going to just spam out as much fast actions as we possibly can, get people onto the ballots, and vote as much as we can as quickly as possible. That's what he's basically saying. And I'm saying I don't know how to play Wong 1, so Ma 1. That's basically
Yeah, Maul could do a solid job at it, I think.
I think Wong, it would, like, if I knew how to play Wong, because I just don't, I would probably take Wong.
Well, you're not in bad company there. I talked with Rich a lot about Bayou nonsense, and Rich is just like, I look at Wong and I just don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know how it works or how you do things. It just seems like utter nonsense. And I was like, you might not be wrong, Rich.
He's starting to make sense. Yeah. Like, I know it's good. I just don't know how to pilot it.
Yeah, and there's validity to that, right? Because there's just some keywords, like even when Kin was good, I still piloted it like crap. So I still lost like a fair amount of games with it. And I was like, I'm just going to go to Maw. And it worked out better for me.
But I think that's a really important point, dude. Honestly, like, I think that's a really, really important nugget of wisdom, which is like, just because the meta says a thing is good, just because the internet says a thing is good, it does not mean that it's the right master for you, Pete, or you, Dixon, or you, John, or me, Doug, to play. And knowing that about yourself, knowing, okay, like, the internet tells me that Wong 1 is the best thing to do here, so I'm going to do this. Don't fucking do that at a tournament when you don't have any reps on Wong 1. Play the master you have reps on, even if it's not like what the best thing is. Play what you're comfortable with, what you're experienced with. I think that's so important.
Preach, King, preach.
Yeah, the first person that showed me that in Malifaux 3 in 3rd edition was Cackle. Because when everybody was saying that Molly was bad, Cackle was
Cackle's super good at
piloting the ever-living crap out of her until he made her, like, good. No, because, like, remember,
he Dixon's trying to make me go back to that drug.
Oh, yeah.
Cackle can pilot anything, though. Yeah. Cackle can literally pilot any keyword in the game.
Like, but he can do that now. He put in the work. He put in the hours. Because I did compete against him, and we got to play. And like, and he's not like, I never got to beat him in the tournament. Granted, but he's not unbeatable. Because like I people that I have beaten have beaten him. So I was like, okay, so it's possible. I do have the skill at this point in time.
He bleeds. I know.
Yeah. So anyway, the point that I was trying to make is he piloted the ever-living crap out of Molly when Molly was known, quote unquote, as a bad master, and look at it now.
Well, and that's also why I try to get at least 4 people for these GG4 episodes, because I want 4 different perspectives, and I know from the people that I agree we're not going to 100% agree on what we should take, because there are, especially in Malifaux, there's usually not just one answer for a master. There's a lot of different variations to that. So that being said, John, who is your pick into ballot stuffing?
Okay, so I think there's a couple different options, and I'm kind of torn, especially after hearing kind of why Sam likes Wong. I like Wong on ballots as well for very similar reasons. Obviously, we've stated the obvious here, but that Sammy and Alphonse are both just fantastic. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just really good at denying points and holding points. And the AP efficiency and if you know what you're doing. I've played enough Wong that I kind of have a rough idea of how to unpack Wong 1 and get you the cards you need, get to the points you need to get to, allocate damage the way you need to with a swine curse that you toss up the board. So I have a rough idea of how to do that kind of stuff, and I do think Wong is really good here. I think Zoraida deserves a mention as well because of the fact that you can stuff the ballots with enemy models with obeys. And there's some cheeky stuff that you can do with Zoraida and Bayou specifically, like MWS made a ruling where if you ensorcel a model and declare the charge and then have it walk, it still gets to make the charge attack, which is kind of funny. So you can like charge in a straight line past some models, and then you can walk the way you want to normally, and you still get to make the attack because it's just weird. You resolve all of the obey, then you get to resolve the melee attack generated by the charge. But planted roots is valuable. And the obeys, just the obeys on target to be like, okay, cool, you're gonna put points here. But I also think, and this might be a bit of a hot take, and because I'm a Brewmaster fan, I like declaring Brewmaster almost all the time, and my points for why I would declare Brewmaster on Stuff the Ballot specifically is because of how fast that they can get the models up the board, and kind of what Reach 2 means. right? Like Reach 2, if they do not bring enough Don't Mind Me or something like that, they're just very good at denying. Like Fermented River Monks, properly supported, are very good at denying points on Stuff the Ballot. If unless your opponent's packing a lot of Irreducible and a lot of Stat 7, like they are generally just really good at denying points. Gammon can get across the board very quickly and go put ballots in points that your opponent may not be able to contest as quickly, and then it automatically, like, they have to start rewiring how they want to get to those outside points. Fingers being chatty, again, same kind of deal. I kind of wish that his small favor allowed people to take interacts with it through engagement, but that's neither here nor there. Chatty's still valuable here.
Yeah.
And if you want to hire the Golem because they don't bring enough anti-armor or they don't have it, the Golem is just a fantastic flanker like model. He can just go jack up some, like, dogs hate him. You know what I mean? Like in Neverborn, like, just, oh, cool, you hired dogs to go to the outside corners. I'm going to send this other nimble model after you, and I'm going to, focus 5 damage. Please, all dogs go to heaven, even the corrupted hounds. So, I mean,
Okay.
I like Brewmaster just in general, but I think Wong is a fantastic option as well. I think Zoraida has a lot of play, even though I don't play a lot of Zoraida in Brown. I think that she has a lot of things that she can do to deny points. So I'm going to stay Brewmaster because I'm the most comfortable on Brewmaster, but I think Wong and Zoraida could potentially be top tier for Stuff the Ballots.
All right, Dixon, what do you think there?
I mean, it's kind of hard. Damn, I don't. I. The problem is this: I tested Zoraida because I love the arcing. You know, you can arc with Zoraida 1. You can do the crazy interaction combos with Zoraida 2. But I don't know. I did not get a good game with her. I think I lost like all the games that I played, and I know that I played more than 10. So she was originally my pick, and I don't know if it's because I'm bad and with her in this GG, and I just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to practice with her.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go with Zip because at least with Zip I have some wins.
Okay.
I mean, it's honest to God.
Yeah.
Zip 1 is always valid.
Yeah. Do you like
no,
apologize for doing
Dread
that?
Pirate.
Or you? Okay.
Dread Pirate specifically for this one. But I would not be surprised if Zip 1, somebody better equipped to play it, can actually do it. Because, like, I know me with Zip 2, I was able to win a few games actually, and I played more than 10 as well with him. But with Zoraida, I was just like getting my butt kicked left and right in this mission, and I thought that she was like a slam dunk.
I actually agree with you that Dread Pilot can be sneaky powerful on stuff. You can get a lot of interaction and interacts out of him. And the other thing that I really like about Dread Pirate specifically is that, so like Sam and I had this argument. It was like a 15-minute argument about the what are the Zip minions, the swashbucklers. And I was like, these models can't be good. And he's like, no, you're just bad. And I was like, all right, okay, fine, that's true. You are better at this game than me, so explain to me why. Good. And basically, yeah, so that's what he was saying. He was basically saying, like, listen, into melee lists on stuff, they can go there and they can get all these interactions out, and then the defensive tome trigger can really fuck with anyone that's trying to move them off a point vis-a-vis like melee hits, right? So, like, you can set up this really annoying interaction really easily with Dread Pirate, specifically in stuff, specifically against non-ranged opponents. Right. And then I was like, all right, fair. Yeah, you're better at this game.
Well, and my pick was also Dread Pirate and Infamous in general, and I think I would pick Dread Pirate most of the time because I think you need Zip to probably vote a little bit in this, which can be scary because, you know, he's a pirate, but that's fine. But the fact that you can just get stuff into the back line to vote in those back ballot boxes, and so you're doing fly with me with the Iron Skeeters, you can do full speed ahead to not only push your models up the board, but maybe get your opponent away from ballot boxes. You also just have, like, Maris is really good. If Earl somehow doesn't die turn 1, 2, or 3, he's just scoring you victory points over victory points. You have the first mate. And then you can just bring out a keyword good stuff like Bog. And, you know, you also have Bo Fishbacher to sit there and just kind of also be annoying with his 2-inch reach. And you have Captain's Challenge, and it's just a lot of good stuff going on with Zip that I think can be really good at getting to the ballot boxes.
It's kind of weird because like with him, it wasn't like I didn't need to stand and fight. I would just like reposition, steal something, draw cards, vote, hit something randomly, and just run away. And it worked.
And keep in mind also that you have access to 12 cups of coffee. This goes with every keyword though. So in specifically ballots and symbols and cloak and dagger, where people want to leap, they want to do like interact, leap, interact. If you're sitting next to them, engaging them with 12 cups of coffee, that locks down models hard. And I found Zip's crew tends to abuse that a little bit more than a lot of other ones. So don't forget your coffee, folks. It'll help you win Bayou games.
Yeah, Photon is completely right in the chat. He's like 12 cups is brutal. It's like y'all.
Oh, I've been locked down by it. It's just like sometimes you get engaged and you're just like, because think about it, then you have to disengage before you can do your bonus, and if you do that, you can't interact for most models. So then that model's just dead for that activation to get you any kind of VP.
To people that know, just imagine Archie being engaged by Big Brain Bryn with 12 cups. Just have that image in your head. It is the worst feeling ever.
If I'll also throw this out there, Brewmaster 2 versus Archie, if you put 12 cups on Brewmaster, like you may feel like you're losing value because Mark Territory is not really useful, but Brewmaster 2 can pretty consistently one round Archie, and Archie can't really do much about it because he'll just like maybe get one swing, and then Brewmaster will just butterfly jump reach game, and you can't leap out, you can't do nothing like that, and so it can I've used Brewmaster because like the ping pong effect of, oh, butterfly jump over here, this position now. Okay, cool. I'm going to deny bonus actions over here now. Oh, you're going to,
Yep.
You know, 12 cups of coffee is just, 12 cups of coffee is like the upgrade in Bayou. Yeah.
It's kind of weird because like there's 4 factions that have an upgrade that's like that. That's like, this is defining upgrade. And like it's funny that 12 cups is Bayou's because like you don't really put 12 cups of coffee with gremlins. Like it just doesn't quite make sense.
Dude, 12 cups of coffee, I put that shit on everything. It's like the Frank's Red Hot sauce.
I agree with that. I'm just talking about the theme. I'm talking about the theme of it. Like they couldn't put meth for obvious reasons. But that's very likely what they wanted to do. They wanted to put meth or something like it because it's the Bayou. And it's like, put 12 cups.
Going to get us demonetized.
Demonetized.
That's so funny.
So for keywords that we don't pick, I think a bunch of us would say kin. Is there a keyword that you would not consider besides kin?
I actually also think that because they're kind of AP lacking, that I don't super want to be taking Angler into stuff either. You know, like as much as I love that keyword, and I really love that keyword, and I really love playing Capture Review with a stat 7 that is just a nonsense thing, but they're just not efficient at producing AP expenditure. Which is okay sometimes, right? Like, but it needs to be very specific scenarios for that to be really good.
They really enjoyed GG3 and I think are struggling into GG4.
Yeah.
Well, like, put it this way, like sometimes if I capture your master and kill it on turn 1 or top of turn 2, that's good enough, right? You still lose the game. Sometimes. But not always, obviously.
So I think for me, I think I agree with the point about Angler, although I don't think it's as bad as it is on something like Cloak and Dagger. And the reason being is that because what you really need to do on Stuff the Ballot sometimes is just like kill models that are standing on the point and then interact like once or twice and then like you're okay, right? So Angler does a pretty decent job with like Auntie Mel and Uncle Bog getting in there and getting models off of points and then just doing those couple of interacts and just keeping it very difficult for them to do stuff. And I would like, again, we're toss up between kin and pigs, but I think pigs have enough mobility and extra AP and out of activation AP, specifically with things like Hog Whisperers and even Ulix 1 if you hired him, that I think kind of edges out kin. But I feel like Stuff the Ballots is an interesting one for Bayou in general, because even kin has that same kind of energy that Clamp or Angler does in this situation, where they can kind of just like go a little bit
Kill
wide
stuff
and
and
they can
vote
start
once or twice.
right. If they can kill stuff and vote a couple times, like I think it could work, but they have to like really aggressively like nuke enemy models as fast as possible and then get to those points and try to score. So I don't know. I feel like I probably don't want to take kin. I would take pigs over kin in this situation. Um, yeah, and I don't want to dump on kin too much, but yeah, I think I don't hire kin here.
Dixon, you agree? Disagree?
No, I agree. Ken Poopy. It's just
So
sad.
that kind of leads us into our last part of this conversation, and it's one I think I forgot about in the Arcanist one, but we did it with GG3 for each faction. So we all know Arcanist is in a pretty good spot. But the last question is, okay, so GG4, how do we think Bayou's doing? Are they doing solid? Are we optimistic about how they're doing? Are they struggling? So I'm kind of curious for people who definitely do tournaments like ourselves, how we're kind of how we think Bayou's doing in GG4.
Yeah, everybody's staring at each other. Nobody wants to be the first.
I mean, I
one.
don't have any tournament experience except for Neverborn. I've been talking about Casually, but Casually, I can't possibly see them as weak. I played against them a bunch. I played as them a bunch in GG4. It's really, really good.
I think Bayou, interestingly, is actually in a really balanced position. Where I think one of the things that holds Bayou back from its like true moment in the sun is that, like, aside from a few very select few people, I think Bayou is kind of more of the Orcs of 40K effect, where it's like, okay, cool, people see Bayou, it's goofy, it's awesome like that, and then they kind of they don't take the tournament as seriously.
Were you saying John all greenskins?
Oh no! I'm not getting canceled on this podcast, dude.
God.
No, oh no, dude.
Now we're really traumatized.
Orcs are Mexican now. No.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Oh, what a choice, wizard. But no, I think a lot of people play Bayou. They play Bayou kind of in a goofy way.
I just.
Oh no!
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but like, just real quick, Pete. Just so you know, the reason why we're laughing in the whole wizards, what a choice.
I know.
Oh, you know? Okay, never mind. Then.
Oh yeah, I know.
They somehow made orcs Mexican, and that was a choice. Never
Checks
mind.
notes.
Continue.
It's accurate, apparently.
Oh, Moser, can you please?
Well, I haven't actually cracked open into like what the new orcs are as much, but I've seen the memes about it and kind of, so maybe you can explain it a little better than I can. But I've seen the memes
I
surrounding.
don't know what you're talking about. Can you
no, literally, it's the exact same. You saw the exact same thing that everybody saw. So wizards, in their infinite wisdom, there were too many people that were saying that, orcs are. Yeah, Wizards of the Coast was like, oh, orcs are too savage. It's racist that they're too savage. And it was like, why? Why is it racist? They're a fantasy race. It's like, yeah, but people are assuming that they're black. And I'm like, what in the hell are you looking at? Whenever you look at an orc, that means that they're black, right?
I mean, there are black
Wizards
orcs,
of the
right?
Coast.
So no,
like WotC.
Yeah, but
yeah.
No, but we're talking about like black people. Like literally, they're saying
that a lot of that stems from
towards black people.
I think a lot of that stems from Tolkien, and a lot of people kind of associate a lot of racist stuff towards Tolkien and his portrayal of orcs versus the elves and so a lot of that comes from that.
But there's all different colors of orcs, aren't there, right?
Because because the orcs were corrupted elves, and in the version that Tolkien had, they basically darkened their features whenever they got corrupted. So everybody started assuming that they meant that they became black. So that's where that came from originally, and it's somehow translated into, it's racist in D&D because of reasons. They literally they had no good arguments. They just said that. So wizards Wizards of the Coast, in their infinite wisdom, made orcs very specifically Latin. Like, you look at them and it's like Honduran Mexican, like, coded really hard, and I'm just like looking at them like, did you just did you just do a
And
racism and about
one female
overcorrecting?
looks like a Gen Z influencer, like, or something.
I don't remember that, but I do remember
Has like
the
the shaved side of
sombreros.
the head with like the spiked up hair.
What was it,
I
Doug?
believe what you're saying is true. I'm just shocked by it.
It is.
I believe what you're saying is true. I'm just
I
shocked
love
to hear this.
D&D.
Sometimes I'm disconnected from
No,
certain bits
I
of
love
internet
D and
culture, and I
D, and
find
when I
it.
saw that, I was like, "This is a joke, right? You guys are memeing. This
It
is
was
not
not.
actually happening."
Because the
It's like,
picture,
oh
the picture
my
that everybody's seen is the where like there's the orc like in the field with the wide brim hat and the donkey, and it's like, wait, what's going on here? That's the image I've seen, and it's like,
dude,
okay,
that looked like a jibaro sombrero. Jibaro sombreros are like the hats that we have in Puerto Rico, and I was like, there was a guy with a jibaro sombrero. And I was like, some motherfucker is like some dude in that group is Puerto Rican, and he just put that in there just to mess with me.
just for you, Dixon. Before we go too much on that
40K.
tangent anymore, we've talked about a couple things aside from Malifaux. I think Bayou is in a interestingly balanced spot. I think that they don't get the proper competitive repetition sometimes, but I don't think they're like the strongest faction in the world. But they do have a lot of interesting tech and interesting choices that you can make at Master Select. I mean, yes, Ma 1 is still probably top of the pack because of her pass token generation. I think people unfairly represent Brewmaster 2 because of his nerfs. I think there are some masters that are very difficult for me to declare. I, for example, struggle heavily with Wong 2 specifically and Brewmaster 1 I haven't put back on the table. And Kin is not in the best spot, but I do think there is some play there if you're willing to like try and work at it. It's more work than it's probably worth, but I think Bayou is in an interesting spot, and they have a lot of interesting counter tech options because of 12 cups, because of the emissary and bash, and like their ability to remove markers. And they have some of the best out of keyword hires across the board. I think Sammy is just really good. Bo Peep is an amazing versatile. Even I've hired Auntie Mel out of keyword because she just can fill in roles as a beater. Whenever you need something that can do kind of ranged and melee and gets around certain defensive mechanics. So I think Bayou's in an interesting balanced position right now.
Yeah, and I think that there's a few, like before it was like either Maw or Zip. And I feel like Brewmaster is now kind of elevating himself towards there. He's probably not as good in all pools, but there are some pools I think he is actually better into now. And then I think you can also declare Somer in a lot of pools, and you can play him now pretty effectively. And then I think Wong and Zoraida also have a place where they can be really good in a lot of pools. So I do agree. I think Bayou's is in a solid spot, and if you underestimate the Bayou because you're not used to seeing them, you will get surprised and probably lose some games.
Oh yeah, honestly, the most fun I have playing this game is as a brown player. And for me it's like it's one of the factions because of their generalized underrepresentation that when high level players can get their hands on them, it can kind of be like a beautiful mind expression of that player's unique individuality. So like one of the things that was my favorite part of this episode was listening to John talk about Tai Chi, because I don't know anything about Tai Chi. And I, in many ways, kind of stupidly, like I should never do this in Malifaux, I kind of wrote off the keyword for a little while. And he was saying these things, and I was like, I'd never thought of that. I'd never thought of that. I'd never thought of doing that. I'd never thought of that being good there. And it goes to show that, like in Malifaux, it's one of the games that's one of the biggest expressions of player agency ever, and it expresses itself in really cool, unique ways. And I think Bayou can cultivate that because it has a lot of really interesting little knobs and levers that you as the player can choose to pull on or call on. And while they might not be overtly powerful, they're certainly a Rube Goldberg to behold if you can pull it all off. And because there's not a lot of spotlight on what Bayou is doing as an organization at a high level, sometimes you can get away with some nonsense, and it's fucking amazing. And like I'll say my last piece is that like if you look at the finals of MWS last year, You know who fucking showed up there? Mawtucket 2. Like, when it really mattered. Like, that's crazy. And like, it's just so cool to see that. And I think Bayou and Explorer Society, for me personally, are big representations of that functionality and why I love this game so fucking much, honestly.
We're the rage quit wire, right? So like we meme and we say hot takes, but every now and then I like to put in some numbers, and the numbers are very clear. Player strength is literally the number one thing that matters right now. Mm-hmm. So like, if like exactly what you said is like the player can bring out the most brutal thing no matter what faction it is, and it's just funnier in my opinion when it's Bayou, because they do some stuff in this episode alone. We talked about the Crier doing some shenanigans with insignificant models that I was like, oh my god, I never even realized how that resolves. Mm-hmm. Or just randomly talking about like, okay, so we can just jump into a model, blow him up, and then steal their tokens and stuff. It's like I love this faction literally because of Pete, and then I just kind of like have to borrow. Yeah, I have to like basically borrow like models and ideas from him, and it just I feel like I have to play the faction just because of that. Because like, oh my god, this is so silly. I have to put it on the table.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that and Dixon has recently fell in love with Toast, so he has to play it.
Oh my god, dude, that model is insane. Mm-hmm. He's 6 points. He's 6 points, but he does the work of like a 9-point model.
So slept on.
Dude, Toast is so slept on, bro. Don't ever apologize for Toast. Toast is so slept on, dude. Yeah. I tell everyone, get a focus on that fucking turtle and go to town,
dude,
boys.
He's a 6-point versatile. 6-point versatile.
I agree, man. I agree. Yes. I'm here to support you, my Stan.
I think I agree with like all those points. And Toast is so good. And I think there's the most underrepresented jockey is Squish and Squash, and because her keyword is kind of but there's some funny things that you can do with that model in Sparks, and I'll let the creatives in here think about what you can do with that if you get her shielded high enough. But drumsticks like an auto hire in Big Hat, especially in something like Somer 2 where he's not going to be able to get as many summons out, but just like the fact that he can cart around a gremlin and give himself take the hit. Yeah, he's just really good. He's fast.
Somer 1 too, dude.
Yeah, he built-in heave is just good.
Somer 1. I don't even know anything.
Statstics built-in heave is good on a move 6 flying model. Model good.
Yeah, model good.
It's from so far away,
that can
dude.
Pick up scheme markers at range. Like, that shit's crazy. I've won games because of that. Games because of that.
No, I think the way you described like Bayou being artistic expression is just chef's kiss.
Yeah, and I would say most games you're going to have a real fun time playing against Bayou, even if they're kicking your face in, because some of the combos are just ridiculous.
And you won't see them coming, most likely, which is the most brutal part. Like, it'll come out of absolutely nowhere, which is awesome. Also, Bashy, the best model ever forever.
For sure.
Even though she's not.
I still think my favorite thing to do in Bayou is just to play like Maw 2 with Soulstone Miners and just drop things down a hole into pit traps, and it just makes me happy.
That's super brutal. Yeah, that play loop's super brutal.
Yeah.
I did it to Dixon's Ice Golem, and it made him salty.
Super brutal.
That was the first time I ever saw like the Ice Golem not do work, and then it just like started following the thread. Like when you start, okay, this action does this, and then this other action, just the domino effect.
And then the Rock Hopper just pokes you with his drill.
And then I was like, oh dear God, everything that Pete has ignores half my damage and it ignores my armor. That is no bueno. I'm about to get destroyed.
All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up there, my friends. That was a great conversation. Yeah, Doug, I want to give you a second to give a plug because I know you guys make a lot of Malifaux content over there.
Oh yeah, if you guys haven't already, you should check us out. We're probably like a less charismatic version of Rage Quit Wire, basically, but we only kind of do YouTube.
You guys are the tier list guys.
Yeah, we're the tier list guys. We're trying to do other stuff. We're going to do other stuff. You know, we got some surprises. I guess our big thing that I can pitch that can get people excited that we're about to put a ton of give a fucks into is going to be our Narrative League 2 Electric Boogaloo. And that is going to be basically, we're going to try to take some lessons learned from the last narrative league that we did. We're going to be reaching out to a lot of our creator friends, like, Mr. Pete and Dixon here. And we're going to try to involve the community in a fun way, and kind of craft a digital presence narrative league with some sort of fun payoff that's tangible for the community that I can make digitally distributable at the end. So like the faction that wins will get a cool thing that I'll commission as like an STL presence file that is free for everyone. And it's like a, hey, thanks for participating, type scenario. And we're going to be dropping that the end of this year, basically in about a month-ish. You'll hear like a video on it.
And I did want to ask you, Doug, because you guys just put on the Danger Planet GT.
Oh yeah.
And I just wanted to kind of get your kind of like afterthoughts. Like, how do you think that went? And just maybe just give us quick like thoughts as somebody who helped run that event.
So one of the things that I was really concerned about, I don't know if everybody knows this about me or if no, whatever, but my background was as like a heavy, like semi-pro Magic the Gathering grinder. So that's where my Comp REL background comes from. Like I didn't know about Malifaux until Sam showed it to me at the beginning of M3. So like lore, a lot of lore is still new to me and stuff like that. But the tournament structure where I was going to like make it really competitive, try to get people from all over and give out tangible like cash prizes, I was really worried that we were going to have a shitty event because people were going to treat each other shitty. That was like the big thing that Brandon and I talked about for days leading up to the event. And dude, it was the best feeling in the world when at the end of day one, somebody came up to me and were like, hey man, we have a problem. I was like, what is it? And they're like, everybody is giving each other too high sportsmanship scores. So the sportsmanship awards are starting to mean nothing. So we need to find
everybody's tied.
Yeah, everyone's giving each other fives. But it was in a scenario where it was admittedly like the most competitive environment that we could foster. Like,
oh yeah, you guys had a lot of sharks there.
Right. Like we were trying to get as many sharks to come in. We were trying to make it as dope as possible. I sat in my basement for 4 months and just smoked weed and painted terrain. Like that's all I did, dude. And I played games on Vassal. Like that's all I did. And like, it was so like awesome to see what would not have happened in the hyper competitive Magic the Gathering community. This is just not a thing, right? People at the highest level of competition in this, like for me, it's like a sport, right? Like I'm admittedly a spike, right? Like I try to be a grounded spike, but like I am, right? And when you put a bunch of spikes in a room, sometimes people can be shitty to each other. But it was so awesome to see that even in the most competitive atmosphere we could foster, that the Malifaux community was still so dope to one another. And I think that speaks from a representation standpoint to like what this game is all about, dude. And like Brandon and I talked about that after, and we were like so pleasantly surprised because we're both kind of new to the Malifaux community. Like we both started in M3, and like that's probably my biggest takeaway. And the event was fun. Like nobody complained really. So like my thought is like when you throw a big thing like that and nobody's angry, you probably did okay. But like that was my biggest takeaway, and it was fucking awesome, honestly. Like,
yeah, definitely. And that's what I tell newer players who are like maybe on the edge of like trying tournaments. They're kind of like worried about the whole competitive aspect. And I mean, I played pretty much 2 new players in that tournament on Saturday. And even though obviously I kind of, went to hard to the paint on them, I was still telling them stuff during the game. I was reminding them of like triggers or something, or giving them ideas on stuff they could do. And it still made it for a fun experience, even though, they didn't keep the score close. But that's why I like Malifaux, though, because if you have a experienced player and a newer player, you should see that point difference. But you can still play the game without making them feel like they're not doing anything, which is cool. Yeah. What about you, John? Anything you want to share? Anything going on?
Well, just to chime in on that point, the Malifaux community, the best community in wargaming, I think. And like you mentioned, like I was worried about that with Boston as well. Just like, and I didn't end up going, and I wanted to go, I just couldn't afford it. But I like hearing everybody talking about it is just like so awesome. And I think the idea of what you did and bringing that kind of that Magic the Gathering background to it is really inspiring, and I hope we can see more like big tournaments that want to do that kind of thing. If I was going to plug anything into
Malifaux is more skill expressive than Magic. Like,
yeah,
I just think so. Like,
and
you
I
know what I
think
mean?
I think Malifaux also kind of like to go on what Pete's saying is that it has more learning experiences in getting stomped than some other games do, right? Like with Magic and 40K, like sometimes it can feel like, oh, I just got stomped out. I don't know what I did wrong or could have done differently, and you can really just point out things that your opponent can learn from in game and still like feel like you're having a competitive
100%.
experience.
Yep.
Sometimes in Magic, there's nothing you could have done right just because the deck is just a hard counter to you.
Yeah, or you didn't, or like your hand wasn't good. Like you kept a medium hand and your opponent drew gas and you drew lands.
Yeah,
and you just got crongled.
Yeah, because of lands specifically, you are definitely like the variance in Magic is significantly harder to like gauge than in Malifaux. Because in Malifaux, if you see a 13, you know that there's only 3 left.
Yeah,
it's like it's just you can count it so easily.
You can card count. Yeah, you can literally card count both yours and your opponent's cards.
And you don't need to count like high. You just need to count 13 cards. That's it. You just keep track of 13 cards.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
this many.
100%.
And you just count them out in your head. You're like, all right, this many. I haven't seen 2. How many cards are in the discard pile? You look at it, it's kind of like 20-ish. Okay, cool. And you just start making plans that way. I mean, there's people that are significantly better at that than me, but like it's so much easier to deal with the variance in Malifaux than it is to do in other games.
But just to shout out Texas, of course. I just wanted to say Doug is going to be throwing the Houston GT in October. And everybody, that was the biggest Malifaux tournament, like in terms of just player count in the States. And I think he wants to do that again. Bring everybody, bring all your friends. We want to fill up Dragon's Lair Houston as much as we can. And the Invitational, it looks like it's going to be held in Texas as well going forward, which I think is nice. And I look forward to more people being able to kind of be aware of that and get down here for the NAFT, the National or North American Faux Tour, for that. And then I know a couple of my buddies, their dad is he is one of the higher ups in ChupacabraCon, which is in San Marcos, and he wants to start making a Malifaux presence there as well. And so I think I can't remember the exact like date that he wants to like set for that, but he was inspired by Boston's use of a cash prize kind of thing, and he wants to kind of maybe implement something not nearly to the same scale, but like, you know, just something little that might even be like, hey, credit for the con, because it's a whole convention that you can go around and do games and stuff.
I think they did it at Gen Con. Nathan handed Brandon a packet as with like cash prize, he told me, like at Gen Con this year.
Quick, make a Chupacabra model.
Yeah.
Honestly, man,
I will say, I talked to Doug today, and the pools have been released. It is going to be no bans this year, so you can play whatever the heck you want.
That is chaos. Just chaos.
It's going to be nonsense.
It is going to be nonsense. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I'm waiting for the day where like more like it becomes international. People go to Texas to play Malifaux internationally.
I mean, a lot of people internationally know Bowman for sure. He's a character. Yeah. He's the man. How could you not know that dude?
Technically, we already did because we already had Angel, and Angel is Canadian. We had a few Canadians actually. If I remember correctly, there were 3 last year.
And
right?
Somebody,
I think there was more than that, dude. I think they had a small amount more than that, and all those players were really strong.
I got to meet, I got to meet 3 if I remember correctly.
Dude, I think
yeah, that's Angel.
Yeah, that's Angel. Dude. At the Invitational, I think we had somebody come in from Bangladesh, and
they were good players.
I hope I'm getting that right. I want to say we had a player come in from Bangladesh.
I know Captain Shinchan, I think
even in just the Black Joker tournament, which was the non-invitational that runs at the same time.
I just know him by
so like even if you don't get an invite to the Masters tournament, you can still come play Malifaux, and the games go side by side. The pools are the same, and I think that's just a really interesting way to do it to prevent people from having the Nova experience that we had, where it was like 4 days, 5 days, it felt like, of Malifaux just back to back to back to back. You know, it was a good time. But
I was gonna say his tournaments are super well run. The terrain's super nice. Dragon's Lair is a top 3 nicest store I've ever been in. and like Bowman has been around the game for like more than some of your firstborn are alive or whatever. Like that man's a staple of running shit. Like, and it's a really good experience.
It's really giving competition to Bill Anderson from Virginia. Like literally, because like it's I mean, I'm so biased that I can't really pick one or the other, but he is.
They're dope. I think Bowman's dope. I think his whole operation is dope. Like it inspired. I wanted. That's what I measured myself up against when I was building my train. Is like I want to look as cool as his stuff looked. That's like what I was thinking myself.
I do want to say one thing about tournaments with you, Doug, is if you catch Doug in the second day of a tournament, it might end up getting
auto loss for Doug. Auto loss for Doug.
Because sometimes Doug doesn't make it.
Doug never makes it. Doug's MO is he plays really hard day one and then sings karaoke and drinks till 3 a.m. and doesn't show up day 2.
Or your hotel catches on fire.
Hey, you say that.
Yeah, my hotel caught on fire that one time. That sucked ass.
Okay, that's hilarious.
I had to stand outside. Yeah, my hotel caught on fire and I couldn't make it to day 2 because I was in my underwear standing outside in the cold and I couldn't get my models. I was like, police officer, can I just get my pants and my models? I swear to God, I just have these little plastic army men,
no.
And I'm just going to go right over there. And he's like, kid, get the fuck away from me. We have way bigger problems than this. And I was like, that's totally fair. There is a building on fire.
No pun intended. Coldest winter that Rhode Island had seen in a long time, and he's standing outside of his hotel because it's on fire.
It
like
sucked
tournament
ass.
day. Yeah. But
oh man, that sucked ass. And it's because I had to book a weird hotel because my work schedule is like week to week because I work in real estate and I have to basically live at the behest of my clients. So I booked super last minute at a hotel that wasn't like the main hotel. And it was like I was like one of the only people affected by this. It was so shitty.
Yeah, because everybody else is on site.
Yeah, everybody else is on site.
Yeah. I am so sorry for you. That sucks.
It was lame.
Because I was like, that's probably like the best thing about playing in Houston is that it's like the hotel is like a walk away from the store.
Yeah, no, it was lame. It was lame. I was like lame. I was like standing there. I was like lame. Like this is lame for like about an hour. It was pretty lame.
I mean, you're okay. I'm laughing now because
no, it's totally funny.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's funny.
It's little plastic army men. And to be honest, dude, like I like being competitive and I like playing Malifaux because I believe it's so skill expressive. But the reason that I pour my heart and soul into the community is for moments and conversations like these, because like, honestly, like that's what makes it worthwhile. The Magic the Gathering community, when I was playing at a hyper competitive level, people didn't give a fuck about who you were or where you were from.
Oh, good Lord.
You were just a fucking speed bump in their way to a 5K payoff. Fuck you. Like sit down, shut up and play Magic was mostly my experience. Like
I did 2 PTQs and then I was like, oh, fuck this. I'm never doing this again.
People,
it's like there's like
they're not invested
1,200
in the
there's 1,200 people in a room and you have to grind out basically day 1 and 2 with assholes because they're just a bunch of assholes.
No one cares.
Like,
and everybody's mildly cheating basically all the time.
Yeah, exactly. They're all looking for that edge.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's so annoying.
Yeah, it's fucking bullshit, dude. I don't miss that shit at all.
Dude, props to you for like sticking it out because I couldn't. I literally played 2 PTQs and then I was like, I'm fucking out.
It's like what I was good at, dude. It's like what I knew. Like that's how I could compete in table. I mean, it's not real tabletop gaming. It's TCG, I guess, which is different. Yeah. But like that's how I could compete. And then when I like dabbled in 40K. I was never very good at it. I never really liked it. I was kind of floating around a lot of systems, and they showed me Malifaux, and I was like, oh, this is fucking dope. And then everybody in the community is dope too. So like, it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. I mean, the worst thing about 40K is that if you want to get good, you gotta get good at Excel. Like if you do some good Excel spreadsheets, you can be good at 40K.
I'm also not painting 100 models, dude. I'm sorry.
That's another thing.
I'm not doing that. There's no fucking way that's happening.
Slap chop all the way, baby.
Even slap chop, no fucking way. I'm painting and building 100 models, bro.
All right, guys, well, we're going to wrap it up there. I want to thank you guys for coming on again. And until next time, make sure that you guys are flipping cards and flipping tables, and we will see you all later.